Hello, Bryce Tubbs here, just trying to share with you today what is bookkeeping business at home, like what to expect and what most people don't really realize happens when you are running a bookkeeping business or any kind of business from home. So, number one, okay, so the first thing you're going to have and you're going to come against is too much green syndrome. So, the analogy I like to use when it comes to working from home is that if you either are going full time or it's the first time you've ever worked remotely from home, which a lot of us have been doing over the past couple of years, you start to notice that when you have no time, you're very, very productive and you're like moving really, really fast. But when you have too much time, you tend to get really relaxed and don't really get that much done in a lot of cases. For some people, they don't have this. Some people they do. I know when I got started, I generally did because I would just be like, I had nothing really to do. I didn't really know what to do. So I just ended up just walking around, going to the grocery store, just doing a lot of stuff that didn't really help out the business when I first got started. The analogy I like to use is like almost imagine like there's a game called pool slash billiards, and the people are trying to go and take the stick and put the ball inside the pocket, right? And generally, the farther that the two balls are from the goal, the harder the shot can be. Versus if the ball is like really close and you just have to go and hit it and it's really close, right? The more green the person has, it's easier to miss because you overestimate it. You're not thinking as clearly. You think you have a lot more room than what you really do, and you tend to miss it a lot more than not, right? And they always say, too much green had too much table left, right? And it's the same thing when it comes to working from home. So the first thing is you have to really start being regimented with your day and making sure that things are moving properly, right? Now, the second thing you have to think about, and this actually comes down to too much green syndrome, is that your family, both your children, your spouse, your in-laws, your parent, like everybody's going to assume that since you're working from home and since you're running your own business, that means you just have all this free time, right? Because there's this myth that when you're starting a business and even running a business in general, that you don't do any kind of work. And they're going to treat you like you're not doing any work. So you'll get calls saying, hey, can you go and do this? Hey, can you go pick this up for me? Hey, I know you're not working right now. Do you want to go do this? Like there's all these different things, and people just underestimate how much work you're actually doing when you're first starting your business. So that's going to be another thing you have to keep track of. And that's why when we talked about earlier, like you have to schedule and segment out your day. You have to know exactly like, what you're doing at this time, what you're doing at this time. And if you have to, you can even start scheduling in some of those calls, right? For example, one of my students named Maite, when she was first getting started, she was like, yeah, my parents call me at like this time every single day. And I'm like, okay, so they call about 10 a.m. every single day. Okay, now 10 a.m. is a really peak time for you to be talking to prospects because for the industry she was going after, that's when they were generally on LinkedIn. That's generally when they're on Instagram and they're looking to talk to her. But if she's spending, an hour talking to her parent every single day, at that time, which is the peak time for her to be selling and prospecting, it doesn't really make sense. So I said, okay, cool. So can you just tell them not to call you until 12 o'clock? Okay, so at least that way you can take a lunch break or maybe 3 o'clock, like reschedule it into a time where generally, the business owners are not going to be as productive or online inside of your business, right? So I'm not saying you don't take those calls. I'm just saying you need to be prepared and do things very systematically, or else your business is just not going to grow, right? People think that, you just start the business and automatically grows. I'm not saying that it's difficult to get the business to grow, but there is some kind of like effort and focus you need to be putting into it. The next thing that most people don't understand when you are starting any kind of business from home is that OCD cleaning sprees are a thing. So there's so many people that I work with. For example, we'll talk about Sharon C, right? So when Sharon was getting started, it was just like, I'd be like, okay, so did you get this thing done? Did you get this thing done? Did you go out and try and do this? Did you do this thing we talked about? She'd be like, no. I'm like, well, why? Well, so, well, yesterday I had to do this. And then like this came up. And then I noticed that when I was doing more writing, more paper and like more printing, like my desk got messy. Then my car needed to be cleaned. Then I had to actually go vacuum out the car. Then I had to go clean up my garage. And And like all these things just kind of like start becoming like bigger and bigger deals to you. And it's not necessarily that those messes and stuff were not there before. It's just when you're at home and when you're looking at things constantly, it almost starts kind of like hitting you in the face that things are not as neat, tidy, and clean as what you might have been used to when you were working your full-time job. So what that looks like is you start going on these just cleaning sprees just every single day, and then stuff just kind of like it's really clean, but your business doesn't really grow. You look back a month later and it's like, well, why is my business not growing? It's because there was so much stuff and so many distractions that kind of happened, during your day to day that caused you not to be able to go. So I had to basically do with Sharon was I said, hey man, schedule it into your day. Like, do you have a specific time that you want to be cleaning? So if you know that you're going to have this like cleaning spree kind of come on, just time box that to 30 minutes. Maybe you can have two 30-minute cleaning blocks inside of your day, and you can actually use those more as like a strategic stress breaker or a strategic kind of like break in your day in order for you to be able to kind of relax and really just kind of ease through your day really, really quickly. Which also brings us to the next point, which is you have to have some sort of like midday break or some sort of break in between your day, especially when you're starting up. Okay. So there's a lot of stress that comes when you're starting your business, especially if you're going at this alone, right? It's a lot easier and a lot less stressful when you partner with someone like myself to do like inside of my mentorship program, because then I just tell you exactly what to do step by step by step. So there's no guesswork between what you need to do and when you actually start getting the results, right? So you don't really have as much stress and it's not as fearful. If you did want to work with me, go ahead and click on the link inside the description below. It'll take you to a link to book a call with me to see if I can help you. But back to what we're talking about, like if you're going at it alone, right, and you're in the growth stage of your business and you don't really know what works, what doesn't, you're trying to get things to stick to the wall, right? There's a lot of stress and confusion that comes with that. And generally what happens for most people is when they first start their business, and even if they don't run their business full time, like they come home in the evening, they're sitting down at their computer, they're trying to make their social media posts, they're trying to build a website, they're trying to be on like Upwork, right? And you don't really know why business owners are not really reaching out to you. Or maybe you do have some consultations with them and you're trying to sell your services and get them to really work with you, right? But then they just don't sign up for whatever reason. And generally that can happen for like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. For some people, it takes up to 3 years. I was just speaking to a lady and she's been in business for about 5 years and she still has not figured it out. And it's not that she isn't trying, like she has a couple clients, but in 5 years, you should be at least 6 figures by that point, right? But she's been really, really stressed out and really kind of fearful because it's just like she just didn't really know what to do. And she was trying and she was trying and she was trying. It's just when you don't know what to do, it can sometimes be really, really hard. And then what happens is sometimes like you try it, but then it doesn't work. Then you get discouraged and you take like a week-long break. Then you come back, you get discouraged and you take it. So it's just really, really hard. Okay. So the way that you can kind of de-stress is during the middle of the day, have some sort of like midday break, maybe a workout. For me, for example, I work out every single day at about 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I just take it's a 10-minute drive to the gym that I work out at. They have really positive music kind of pumping. I talk to some of the people there. Sometimes I'll prospect and see if I can get some new clients from the gym. And I just come back home. And after that, it's basically I start a second work day. And it's just kind of like I come back. The first day is generally focused on like prospecting and booking new calls, booking new consultations, and doing just business growth activities. And the second part of my day is generally about either doing calls with clients or it's actually doing consultation calls. Generally, I like to have between about 1 to 3 consultation calls per day. That's just the pace that works for me. Some people like doing one, some people like doing one a week. It really depends on what are your growth goals and like what are you really trying to accomplish with your business. But for me, I just love having that midday break. I also have one break at the end slash the beginning of the third workday. So there's some weeks where I'll work from like 7 p.m. Eastern time to like about 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it just really depends on like how I feel that week, right? So if I know I have that kind of end of day kind of shift, then I will sometimes go and actually drive my car around like there's about this little square block that I like to do. It's like my neighborhood, another neighborhood, and there's another one. Then I go back, then I come back, and I come back, and I come back. It's basically like it's a good day ender, or it's a good place to kind of re-energize again and just kind of recollect my thoughts, and then start that third business kind of day, right? And that's really how I kind of handle it right now. For me, it's not really about managing like stress, because I don't really have, it's a different kind of stress when you actually have your business like successful versus when you are starting out and like confusion, right? So the confusion and just the discouragement, that's actually a lot more stressful, because it's like you don't know why things are not working out, versus the stress for when you actually have things going. It's more of just like just managing tasks, managing contractors, managing your time, making sure that you're sleeping well, making time for, relationships, making time for your kids. And it's just more about organizational kind of stress. So organizing and structure stress, which I'd rather have structural stress than confusion stress. Those entirely different things. But that's kind of what we help with the students with inside the mentorship program, right? You're always going to have problems in your life. It's just there are higher level problems. For example, like you start making more money. Okay, cool. Now you got to really track your taxes. Then you got to go and find a good tax attorney. Then you have to go find a good CPA to help you out with minimizing your taxes. Then you have to go find this thing. Then you have to go and do this thing. And if you're not smart, you go and buy a Lamborghini. You have Lamborghini payments. Then you have this. Then you have oil change. You never really stop having problems. It's just they become higher level problems. Um, at least that was for me, because when I was first getting started, it was like, you know, um, where do I get money? My problem was I didn't have very much money because I quit my job cold turkey. Nowadays it's like, okay, so how am I utilizing the money more effectively? Like should I be spending it more in advertising? Should I be spending it on expanding the team? Should I be just investing it inside the stock market? Should I be going and flipping more properties? But if I do go, take the money from the bank account and put everything into the investment account, everything into properties, now my business is slightly choked out and I can't go and invest more money into the advertising I want to grow the business faster. It's like prioritizing. It's all these like kind of little cool things, but the point of that is to say like your problems become better problems. And rather than it being about like, oh, I don't have any money, oh, I'm trapped by this boss, oh, I can't spend time with my kids. It's just like, how do we manage this new success? And I would love to be able to help you get to this level of the problems, because if you're dealing with these, that's no bueno. That's not good. Okay, so if you do want some help, right? I want to be able to help you out inside of the paid mentorship program called Six Figure Firms. Now, inside of this, okay, we're going to be working from everything you need, from pricing, marketing, sales, and also time/team management. This is exactly what you need if you're trying to go from, maybe you're just getting started in your business. Maybe you have like 0 clients, maybe you have like 2 to 3, maybe you're making like 3 grand a month, but you're trying to go more to like, 10 grand, 12 grand, 15 grand. If your goal isn't quite that high and you just want to make like 6, 7, or 8, it still is a good program for you. You would just implement what we talk about and you just stop at wherever your goal is. And then you just coast and you just keep moving forward with your business. Now, if that's what you want, like you want to go and reach your financial goal, you want to be able to have more time with your family, you want to be able to not have to go to a job you hate, you want to be able to really just be in control of your life, go ahead and click on the link inside the description below. It'll put you on my calendar and we can just talk. Okay. So there's 3 things we want to cover on this call. 1, where are you right now? 2 is where do you want to go? And then 3, if I think I can help, I'm going to outline what that process looks like for us to work together for you to be able to accomplish your goal. And if it makes sense, if you resonate, if we're in alignment with each other and like how we work, then we can even onboard you right then and there on the call so you can get started with the program. If it's not a good fit, that's okay. At least you have a game plan of exactly what you need to do in order to go and grow your business and go and reach your goals. So if that's you, I will see you on the call. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day. Give me 1 second.